Black Betty, lamb, lamb, lamb. Man, we have the biggest budget ever for this.
I had to play Boston because I know it's your favorite band.
All right. Good evening, everyone. It's Thursday night. Detect America is in the house. Uh, I've got. I'm down here in the woods, so I'm not able to see the chat, but I can read it, and I will read it later on. And whatever is said, I'll get retribution. In the house tonight, we got Frankie, Ronnie, and our special guest Andy Sabisch. Good to see everybody. Ronnie, Frank, how you guys doing tonight?
We're doing good. We're doing good.
Very good, Steve. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing
limping.
okay.
I'm limping around as normal.
Good. Yeah, I like that. Andy, how are you tonight, buddy? Thank you very much for joining us.
I appreciate the invite. I always enjoy stopping by to see DA's crew.
It's always great when we have Andy in the house. We always have such a great show. He is a wealth of knowledge. I know I'm not going to have your resume as well, but you have written very many books on metal detectors, and I don't even know how many books you've written. I know you are technologically probably one of the most intelligent guys when it comes to the use of metal detectors. And I know you run what's called a boot camp for metal detecting. And I got to tell you, it's been about 30 years since I'm not coming to your boot camp because I'm not doing push-ups anymore. I just ain't doing push-ups. I push up to the table and I sit up and leave the table. That's about the most I do.
Andy, how COVID stopped the boot camps for now?
Yeah, I think COVID really killed 2020 for a lot of people. I think 2020, if you think back, New Year's Eve, night 20 or 2019, we all had great visions of what 2020 was going to hold for us. And well, I tell you, that rug got pulled out from under everybody. So,
seriously.
The boot camps, unfortunately, between the lockdowns in the various states, the hotels, we're still struggling with trying to get hotel space to put them on. So 2021 is when we're going to try to restart these things. We've got a lot of interest, but unfortunately 2020 was just not going to work for us.
Absolutely. I get people asking me all the time if I know, because I guess they haven't seen you posting them and anything if you were coming back with them. And I said, I'm sure he is. And I'm sure that this ridiculous world we're in today is probably the reason why you haven't had him.
Andy, I understand you're going to be going to Florida Hunt 7 in Florida in February. Did you sign up for that?
Yeah, but again, it's one of these where I hate to make firm commitments because by that point, we may have walls built up between the states. I don't know.
Well, I know, yeah, but it'd be great if we all get down there and get to see you. Finally, we'll get to meet. Because me and Frank will be there and Ronnie will be there, so it'll be great that we all get to meet up like that if it all pans out.
A big crew from all over slated to go down, and everybody's crossing their fingers, man.
Yeah.
Well, we just had that hunt up at the Andorra farm up there in Virginia, a big relic hunt, and they had about 100 people show up. And again, even that was up in the air whether or not we were going to be allowed to have a gathering, whether or not we had to wear masks. And, thankfully it went off without a hitch other than rain on the last day. But, it's a shame. I mean, a lot of these big hunts have been canceled.
You had got to see a lot of people from Jersey there because they all drove down. I know you got to see Donna and Bob Funk and Dawn and Shelley Williams. I'm sure you know who they were. Yeah, they stand out in any crowd. You just can't keep Shelley down.
I just need to know how Andy gets them, gets the long lines. Me and Steve, we tried to set up a line for people to come see us, and they come up to us and ask us for cheeseburgers and stuff. These guys spoke very highly of you, man, and just from what they were telling us about, you were basically going through everybody's detector individually that came up to you and setting it up, basically for them and for the area they were digging. That was awesome. Shelley and what's the other one's name?
Dawn.
Shelley and Dawn were like they were so impressed and we're trying. We want them to have success. They're literally months into this hobby, and we desperately want them to have success. So they really enjoyed going down and meeting you. And and meeting everybody else who's been down there.
Well, I'll tell you, before we get into some of the other topics, I mean, that brings up a great point. So, a lot of people were asking for what are the settings I need to use for my detector at this time. And the problem with doing that is unless you know the site, and it can vary 5 miles down the road, can be totally different. So what my wife and I did is we got up there the day before and we actually buried targets, mini balls, shell fragments, artillery shells, and it was really fun digging an 18-inch deep hole or 2-foot deep hole to put an artillery shell in. But to see how the settings vary, I mean, I can tell you use field 1 and use these settings on an Equinox, but when we got there, we had to tweak them because they didn't quite work the way they did back at home. So that's why, people that say, give me your settings on the internet, you got to realize that whatever machine you use, my settings are not going to work exactly like they do in your area. So you need to make sure that you've taken the time, buried some targets, and played with it and tweaked it because it's going to change.
Andy, can I ask you a quick question? I'm sorry to do that. I experimented with my Equinox in the field the other day. I really use it for the beach only, but I wanted to try it in the field. And I really, in order to stop the chattering, I had to really lower the sensitivity to about 20 or 21. Am I still getting good performance out of the machine? With the sensitivity that, in my opinion, low?
Well, to be honest with you, a lot of the areas that we hunt in, if you can get to 20 or 21, you're having a good day.
Okay.
The field that you were in, I mean, was there electrical interference nearby? Because even if you noise cancel, what you may find is switching to single frequency, 10 or 15 kilohertz, quiets the machine right down, and you're getting really good depth. So if the ground's not mineralized, go to single frequency, and you're going to find that the machine quiets right down.
Okay, good. But like you said, at 19, 20, I'm still getting good enough sensitivity that the machine works well.
I've got coins down at 9, 10 inches at 17.
Okay.
So, overranging it, I've found if I try to push it to 23, 24, I get less depth because I'm getting so much feedback.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, good. Thank you. I appreciate that because I don't know. I have something about this. If it's not balls to the wall on sensitivity, you're not getting depth, and it's good to get that feedback from you that I can feel confident that I'm still getting depth, even though the number, there's something in your head where it's not the maximum number, so you're not getting maximum performance, but you get maybe better performance by lowering it in some of these situations, and people need to understand that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Did that EMI, that chatter you pick up, is that just interfering with your ability to hear, to hear at deeper depths, or is it truly affecting the performance of whatever machine? I mean, I know I've had issues with the Simplex and had issues with other machines when there's a lot of EMI. Am I losing performance of the machine if they're that susceptible to the EMI?
You're not. Again, the thing that I always try to stress is sensitivity is not like, the White's machines, for example, where you've got AC, and DC sensitivity and preamp gain.
Right.
You're not, as you increase the sensitivity, you're not putting more power into the ground. What you are doing, though, is you're reducing the threshold in terms of what does it take to give you an audio response. So if you bring that threshold down all the way to the bottom, which is maximum sensitivity, if there's any interference or feedback from the ground, you're going to get chatter or noise. So that's why, as Steve was saying, you get less depth if you try to run a thing balls to the wall flat out.
Right.
Yeah,
now,
it gets
Andy,
distorted.
Good. I know that you've written. I mean, let's put it this way: when I was doing your promo, I ran out of room on the page for all your books. So I know you've written a ton of books, and generally speaking, I like the fact that you've reached out and you've written probably more books about some of the more complicated machines. Somebody that's grabbing as far back as the Safari. Somebody that's grabbing a Mind Lab or a Deus, something like that, for the first time. There's a lot of bells and whistles to jump through, and that's generally been the way that you've attacked these books. Your recent book, which, by the way, I'm getting hit up every day about it, is your Simplex book. Now, a starting price of $254. It's not the most difficult machine in the world to use. Why did you attack the Simplex for a new handbook?
Well, I mean, as you said, 254 for the base unit, a little over 300 for the wireless headphone version. And you're right, there's not a ton of adjustments. I think there's 9 total adjustments on the menu bar. But the vast majority of the people buying these things, they're buying it as their first machine, they're buying it as a backup or a loaner. And to be honest with you, the manual, even though it's better written than most, still leaves a lot to be desired. So you see the same questions getting posted time and time again on the forums and on the Facebook group. So what we did is we took a lot of those questions, boiled them down to what are the top 10 questions, wrote the book, simplified all of the options to make sure that somebody that doesn't have any experience hunting can understand the machine, and then walk through how do you make adjustments. And again, one of the things I always do with my books is I hate writing a book with my perspective being the only thing in the book. So I reach out to people around the world that use it for relic hunting, beach hunting, field hunting over in the UK, relic hunting here in the US, coin hunting across the US, get their perspective because there's nuances in each of those areas. And I try to incorporate that into it. So it's not my perspective, it's kind of a worldwide perspective.
Right.
And that really helps. I mean, if somebody's in England buying a book that's written from somebody in New York, a lot of it doesn't apply. But if you write the books broken up so that somebody anywhere in the world can pick it up, read the introduction, read the first couple chapters, and then jump through field hunting or relic hunting or beach hunting, it becomes a much more useful tool. And what we've heard so far is that's exactly what it's doing. So again, it's a basic machine, but it offers a lot of performance. And even if you're experienced, there's definitely some nuances in the book that'll help you get more out of it. I think Ronnie's got them in stock, don't you, Ronnie?
They're supposed to be here. They haven't arrived yet. So I know they shipped.
I think that's great. Like you said, it is an introductory machine for most people that don't know much about metal detecting, and I knew that was one thing when I first got into metal detecting I needed to learn. So that is very important and a great quality in that book. And I'll tell you what, I just, this was the first machine I've ever really seen Frank be enthralled. He came and he goes, I really like this machine, and he said that from the day he had it early on, and that's very impressive about that machine. So,
I like. In other words, when I'm looking at one, first thing I do is if I'm doing a review or something on the machine, the first thing I want to do is I want to know, the price tag and that price point. What am I getting for the machine, and what else am I getting out there? What else is out there available for that price point? And not mentioning any names, but I had another machine from that company in my hand, and I spoke to Delek. Delek knows that I wasn't. When I took it out of the box, I didn't like how it felt, and I didn't get very much out of the machine. When I took this out of the box, just holding it in my hand, I realized that this is built a lot better. And for $254, $335, I was impressed with, especially if you're a newcomer coming into this hobby, everything that machine offered you, and the success just taking it out in the field, and I'm popping coins with it. If I can go out and pop a coin with it, then I know, it's a successful machine. It does what a metal detector is supposed to do. Has a lot of cool features on it at a great price point. That was the biggest thing that sold me on the machine, was what you were getting at that price.
And then what really sold them on your book was the little plug you made about the ugly box. And I had to hear about that for like an hour. Oh, Andy talked about the ugly box in the box in the book, and I'm like, oh.
I didn't even know your book was out until I had about 10 people go, "Yo, Andy mentioned the ugly box in this book." I said, "All right, you got to take a picture of the page and send it to me." But
I agree with what you're saying about what they crammed into that machine. Again, when we saw the prototype a year earlier, they were talking about bringing it in at $100 or $200 more. Right. But somehow they were able to bring it out. When they introduced it over in England last year at Detectival, we almost fell over when they told us what the price was going to be. But the one thing I think that people ask about, what does it take to be successful here in the U.S., and there are some other detectors, we'll talk about it a little bit later in the show, overseas. But you got to have a quality product along with quality service. And I think that's one of the things that DLEC has really stressed, having service here in the U.S., and their answer is simple. The customer is always right. If you don't agree with that, see rule number 1.
Really?
So they're whatever it takes to get the machine right, especially on a low price machine, they're behind it.
I'm going to test that theory that the customer's always right. But I tell you right now, you talk to that woman up on the couch right now, she'll tell you I'm never right. I'm never right with her. So I'm going to see if Noka lets me be right at least once in a while.
And I like the fact that they're constantly reaching out to people, people who have either tested the machine, and even the guys testing the machine. I know that there's a wide array of people across the country that have had the machine in their hands, and they listen to you. That's the other thing that I really like about. And I've gone head to head with Noka in years past, but DLEC is, if I ask her a question about something, if I have an issue about something, she's always there listening, and the next thing you know, they're addressing it. So for a newbie coming into the hobby, that going to grab a machine that maybe isn't the best known name compared to all the big four, they're doing a lot to back up their product, and it makes a lot of people feel good about buying it. And I've gotten nothing but good reviews, and mostly good reviews on this machine. And I got to admit, for $254, for $335, it's not going to hurt you. If it was a bad machine, it's definitely not going to hurt you because it works.
Yep.
You've probably written about 6 books in the time we've been waiting for Frank to write one.
Okay. So does your editor call you every other day and say, are you done yet?
No, I sent him the last couple of pages, and I said, please try to get this in. And he's working on it, but we're almost done. I mean, I haven't seen the finished product yet, but as soon as I do, you'll see it. So, as Andy will tell you, probably it's a pain in the ass to write a book. So,
anybody that thinks you sit down and 2 hours later on a computer you're done. I mean, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, then the editing, and then the layout, and then getting the cover work done. Yeah, it's not that easy.
And I hate sitting down and have to just write my thoughts. I just don't like it.
And he writes in Pig Latin, so we have to translate it to American so that people could read it and understand it. So it takes a little more time.
I forgot I have to start using those 10-cent words instead of those 25-cent words.
And we know we have a lot of people looking forward to the Ugly book coming out, because the Ugly box is just flying off the shelves.
Part of that's Andy. I thank Andy for that.
I know. Now you can, yeah. But I know Andy's books fly off the shelves when they hit, and I know.
And listen, I'm going to tell you straight up, guys, and I know. Some people tell me I come off like a know-it-all. I don't know why they would ever say that. And this is a fact, hand to God. Anytime that I have to reference something on a machine, if Andy's got a book out on that machine, that's where I go. That Andy is the most in-depth, detailed, writes the most in-depth, detailed books on the machines that he tackles. And if you have any question about any part of that machine, anything that machine does, Andy's book is where I go. And if I'm going there, anybody should go there, because he answers every question.
You know what? I'm going to ask Andy this question as well, because, Andy, it appears that I'm really in a dry spell of finding anything. I've been out detecting about 20 times, and I've actually come home with absolutely nothing to show for it. So,
your next lesson, Steve, is I'm going to show you how to turn it on.
Well, most people are telling me I should get rid of that and get the mini horde. Yeah, is that a good decision?
Again, the mini horde and the midi horde, again, that's another one of those where, they introduced them last year, and they finally came out with them. They're finally shipping.
Yeah.
They've taken the entry level for the 3 to 12-year-olds and taken it from a toy you get at Walmart or Bass Pro or Cabela's and turned it into something that's, a solid machine. I mean, waterproof. great build quality. So yeah, I think they realize where the market is, and they're building models to fill those niches.
Yeah, we had a
And that's the
member who
thing.
took his daughter out. This is the reason why they want me to use the mini horde. He took his daughter out, and her first target was a seated dime.
Well, she got that. They got the detector. We donated that at the hunt. He won it down at that hunt in Virginia.
Oh, that
Yeah.
yeah, good. See, so
I know that a couple of different kids detectives I had, and my granddaughter isn't she gets tired of detecting quickly, but when I turned her on, I handed her the mini hood and turned it on, and granted, and the machine's got modes, the machine will absolutely find stuff, but they turned it from, they didn't lose the kid's identity in that thing with the thumbs up and the smiley faces. She holds the machine and swings the machine just because it keeps her occupied. They consider their target audience for that machine big time.
Yeah.
So, did you have any difficulty in writing the Simplex book? I mean, not necessarily difficulty, but did you learn something for yourself about writing that book and the Simplex that surprised you maybe?
Again, I had the opportunity of getting one when actually, it was one of the first 3 or 4 that were out there as prototypes from Detective All. So, I mean, I've got a fair number of hours in terms of runtime. I hate to say it, I use my wife as a guinea pig on a lot of these books. So what I do is give her the book and give her the detector and see if it makes sense. Some of the tricks in terms of like identifying iron, that's the one thing any VLF machine struggles with. So there's some tricks in there as far as identifying rusted iron, which helps. Another trick, if you're using a stock coil, you typically are not able to run at maximum 7 bars sensitivity. But what you can do is if you can run at 5 or 6 and you get a marginal signal, just bump it all the way up to 7 using the up arrow. Swing across it, and it'll bang a target out solid. Now, there may be chatter. You wouldn't hunt with that, but again, it's a little trick to gain a little bit of depth to check those signals. So, I learned a few tricks as I went through from guys that gave me some input. And again, that's the benefit of doing the books the way I do it, where I look for input and try to incorporate that into their tips and techniques.
Tell me some of the things you found with the Simplex.
I've found a fair number of, silver coins or older coins at places that have been hit for 20 years. And again, the thing is, everybody's always concerned about, well, how deep? A lot of those, not exceptionally deep, but they were in and amongst trash. So it's got really good separation, especially in the Park 2 mode. So, that's one thing that stood out. Some of the targets that I've got that other machines had gone over and the crash had nulled them out. My wife has done well. She's pulled many balls 8 or 9 inches down, some of the spots we're hunting near Vicksburg. Got an artillery fuse, brass artillery fuse, a good 9-10 inches down. So it's getting good depth, and we're getting both relics and coins with it.
So the performance is really paying off.
Yeah, we took it to we got invited to a competition hunt and then a natural hunt down in Louisiana a few weeks ago, and she used it, and she did as well as some of the people that were using some of the higher end machines. Some of those coins and tokens that they had buried were 8 inches down, 7 inches down on edge, and she was able to hit them. So, yeah, it was impressive what she was able to do.
Yeah, the machine, from what I hear, there's so many people that have raved about it, and they actually recommend it. Oh, I want to buy a machine, don't want to spend much. Get the Simplex. And
well, that was the thing with some of the old timers that I was talking to when I was running the Simplex. And believe it or not, some of their biggest fears were, what am I going to get for a $250 machine? They were actually shying away from the machine because the price tag was low. They figured they were getting a Harbor Freight special, and
Yep.
a lot of the guys were shocked. Again, not that it's the end all be all, not that the guys are selling their Deuses and their CTXs to buy the Simplex, but especially for someone coming into the hobby at 250, what are you going to get? Your choices are limited for as much as you get with that machine at that price. That was the big deal. It definitely gave you your money's worth out.
And a lot of guys did put down some of their higher priced machines to use the Simplex at times. A lot of people say they sometimes prefer the Simplex.
Like I said, it's the machine that I carry around in my truck because I don't want the expensive machines to get stolen, and I'm not afraid if I pop a little field on the side of the road, I'm not afraid to pull it out and think that I'm not swinging a
Right.
toy. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's out there, I'm going to find it.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to several people that that bought it for water hunting, for example. They figure if it ever leaks, that they're out $250 versus even
Right.
an Equinox 6. I mean, there's been issues with them leaking. Do you take
So
an $899 machine in the water, or do you take a $250 machine in the
right,
water?
so many people don't even want to take their CTX in the water. They're like, I ain't taking that in the water. It's waterproof. Yeah, but I'm still not taking it in the water. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
another valid point. There is that.
Well, look, I had mine for 7 years. I'm still afraid every time I take it underwater. So,
Yeah, I dive right in. I jump right in. I mean, that's. I know. I beat them machines. I really do. My CTX is taking a beating, and so is the Equinox, and it still holds up to me a lot.
well, I never had a leak with the CTX, but I'm
Oh,
still
I
I'm
have.
still always. You see me before I take the CTX in the water. First thing I'm doing is I'm making sure I got the seals are clean and make sure everything's tight. I'm wrapping the rubber band around it so I don't pop open the clips. And
Well, the only thing I've ever done was blow out 2 batteries.
you.
And then when I did lose the motherboard, but I think that was from it being on an airplane. And I had it
Yeah,
on an airplane, and I guess they must have
banged it around a
gorillas
little
my
bit.
suitcase. Yeah, somebody must have crushed something, and it just fried. So, Ronnie's got something to show us. Can you pull that out, Ron?
Oh, I figured I didn't want to upstage anybody, but I figured since we had the king of metal detecting books on the show, what would be more appropriate than my headdress, which I'm going to put on in a second in honor of the king.
This tops any $3 hat I've ever put on. This thing. Yeah, today, Ron. Sometime today, Ron. Look at this.
Let's see if I can get the. Hey, you got the little snake head up here.
Yeah,
So I got a
the great
Pharaoh's hat in honor of
Ron
the king.
Farrakhan. Ron Farrakhan.
I was going to save it. But
That's an homage to you, Andy. He couldn't find a crown, so that's the closest thing to a king's hat he could find.
They did have crowns. This I found a hat shop in Atlantic City, and they sell some tremendous. Last week's show, you saw me with the the red, white, and blue stars hat. So
You should have got Frank the tiara he always wanted to wear.
Listen, I'm not afraid to wear a tiara. I'm in touch with myself. I'm good.
I like how you told me you were asking some of the other old timers. I got to tell you something, Frank. You are an old timer now. So you're in the category, buddy.
So Andy, one of the questions that comes up all the time, and it comes up all the time, and you're the guy to ask. In comparison to, especially the newer machines with these fast processors that they have a tendency not to want to go as deep as some of the older machines with the slower processors. But the butterfly double Ds versus the concentric, guys are swearing the concentric is going deeper. Butterflies have more detail, make a hotter hot zone. What's your opinion on the pros and cons of the butterfly versus the concentric coil?
Well, I mean, the thing with any double D, and all you have to do is look at what the manufacturers are putting on it. Manufacturers have all moved from concentric for the most part to double D. And the reason is it handles bad ground better, and it gives you better coverage front to back. The other thing is, as you go bigger, you're not gaining a lot more depth, you're just getting more coverage. And if you go smaller, you don't necessarily lose depth because you see less ground, you can run at a higher sensitivity level.
Right.
So to me, the double D coils give you the best of both worlds. I personally don't believe that you're going to get let's say you take a quarter and bury it at 10 inches. You're not going to get a better signal with a concentric coil than you will with a double D coil. I've used double Ds pretty much exclusively for the past 10, 15 years. And, I've never looked back. It gives you better coverage. and smoother operation. So to me, a double D is a no-brainer.
Is there an advantage to a double D on a multi-frequency as opposed to a double D on the single frequency?
No, I mean, it depends. I mean, obviously, MindLab has got some proprietary interface they use with their chips, which is why you don't see DTech or some of the other coil, the other companies making coils for the Equinox or the CTX 3030, which unfortunately keeps the prices where they are. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
if you look at the prices on an Equinox coil or even a 3030 coil, that's more than the price of the Simplex. Competition to me is great. I mean, years ago realized that they'll come up with 2 or 3 coils, but if there's half a dozen companies making coils for them, it makes their machines more valuable. Right?
How about one of the questions that popped up is how about coils on a PI machine? Is there an advantage to different coils on a PI machine? Is there a specific coil for a PI machine that's going to make that thing function better, different than a VLF as a like you're saying on the VLF, the bigger coil is pretty much giving you more landscape. Is there an advantage to that on a PI machine, or is it basically the same thing, just covers more area?
The thing with a pulse induction machine is they operate on a totally different concept. You got a VLF and you got a TR machine, you got a transmit and receive coil. A pulse machine, typically you're looking at a single winding and it's alternating between transmit and receive. Some of the windings that are out there are unique, the way they wind the coils, and each one of those companies claims that their design, their approach gives you better performance in the field. If you really want to see a strange coil, look at the GPZ, the new the high-end MindLab GPZ, and their high-end coil, which is $1,500 for the coil, but they've actually got 3 coils, 2 outer, 1 inner coil, and they alternate back and forth. The ZVT coil. So, pulse induction machines, to be perfectly honest with you, are not in my wheelhouse. I've used them. I'm familiar with them. I use them in certain areas, but I use them so infrequently that my learning curve, if somebody has a question, it takes me a day or 2 to go back and do my homework to come back up to speed on it. I'm not right around the corner from the saltwater beach, and I don't hunt the red soils of Georgia and Virginia. So, pulse machines, I'd rather get discrimination, even if I lose a little depth.
That's always been my philosophy. Yeah, I might be able to get 2 feet out of a pulse induction machine, but I like being able to discriminate when I have to.
Yeah.
And Andy, I have a question for you, because I think a lot of people kind of wonder with the same question, and maybe you can answer it. What are the best conditions for a coil when it comes to soil? I've heard people say, well, it rained last night, so we're going to get, our coil's going to work better in the wet soil. I wonder what conditions are the best for that signal from a coil? Maybe as it rained, does water push the signal better, or what happens there? Help me out here.
Well, I mean, bottom line is you're sending an electrical signal into the ground. So obviously, the wetter the ground, the better it's going to transmit and receive. So you will get, if you've got an area and you found wheat pennies and there's silver there and it's rained, you definitely want to go back there and rehunt it. So, the wetter the ground, the better. Obviously, farm fields a little bit different as ground gets turned over, but when the ground is baked and dry, you're getting less depth, less response from targets. So the wetter the ground.
I think a lot of people wondered about that question, and you just basically, solidified an answer, because I didn't know. I thought the wetter ground was a little better, but I was never really 100% sure. That's why I was interested in that question.
Andy, what about frozen ground? I noticed that on farm fields in particular around here, but when we get that little frost and that ground starts to get a little choppy, starts to open up little fissures and everything, we seem to get like ridiculous depth out of some of our machines. Is that because as it freezes and granulates, we're in better line of sight? It's just seeing better into the ground, or is that frozen water have something to do with that?
I'm not sure I've ever noticed that as the ground gets frozen, you get better depth. I mean, it may be again, it may go back to, the ground is saturated down to the target level. And again, you're getting better depth. I mean, if you get a sprinkle and you go out there, I'm talking about if you get a soaking rain where the ground is soaked down to the depth of where the targets are, is where you're going to see better performance. But I
Right.
mean, I've never noticed it just with ice crystals. Hopefully down here in Mississippi, we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, unfortunately, we do.
Yeah, tell me about it. But Frankie, do you want to break out your other announcement tonight? We've probably got great viewership going on right now, and
Well,
I know you're chomping at the bit to tell everybody what we've been keeping as a secret.
I chomping at the bit if people could actually say it, but
It
so
doesn't matter. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
about 4 or 5 years ago, myself, Steve Zizulik, Ryan Fazakis, we went up to New York and we did a film shoot for a company out of Canada called Yap Films, and it was we were hunting on 2 pieces of property that were owned by a 1920s gangster who had robbed banks and supposedly had tunnels under the ground. So we went up there with detectors, went up there with ground penetrating radar, and we spent a day up there searching all this guy's haunts and his former houses, the places that he was, and we found some not to give anything away, but we found some interesting stuff, and it's premiering tonight at 9:00 on Discovery Science Canada. And when I went to the site to see if I could stream it, I said, sorry, but you have to be in Canada to see it. So here in the States, guys, on November 18th, and I'm sure I'll remind you probably 150 times between now and the 18th, here on November 18th on PBS at 10:00, it's going to stream. It's going to air for the first time, and I think it'll be streaming then too. So that was the big secret that after 5-6 years, they finally, I guess COVID closed everybody down. They ran out of stuff to produce, so they finally produced our documentary.
And from what I understand, you found more in that 1 hour show than they did on this other show that were nameless that's been on for like 15 years.
We didn't dig as many big, huge holes as that show, but the stuff that we set out to find, we found. And then there was a couple of tidbits that we weren't necessarily expecting to find that we found as well. So it's interesting. It should be interesting. I haven't seen it. Like I said, as far as I know, they could have cut me out. It's been 5 years. I don't know how much I'm even in it.
Well,
my job basically was ground penetrating radar. But
and maybe November 18th when it airs, maybe we'll just broadcast it on Detect America. And
yeah, well, I think I think she's sending me a link, and we might be able to do a watch party or something like that. But November 18th at 10:00 is going to be on PBS.
And I won't make any fun of you. I promise. I won't make any fun of the show. I won't do any of that stuff because you know me. I'm business as usual.
Oh yeah. I have no worries. I have no worries about the memes that are coming out the following day.
Don't you worry. No, I'm looking forward to it, buddy. I'm looking forward to that. I really am looking forward to the book. I think those two things are promising.
And people were asking about what we got paid, and I told them I got paid the best club sandwich at lunchtime. I think I got $19 for gas and a club sandwich.
And people will say I'll do anything for food.
But yeah, and if maybe on the 18th, maybe I'll get a hold of Steve Z and those guys and see if they want to come on and talk about it. But I want to, before I make a full blown show about it, I kind of want to see how it looks.
You want to preview it before you start? Yeah. I just want to know, your knee. I know it's not feeling any better. I don't know what you're going to do. You can't walk down the red carpet.
Nah.
I mean, and how are you going to accept the Pulitzer Prize? And then when you and Andy have to go for the Nobel Peace Prize together, Andy's going to have to hold you up to walk up to the stage.
I think. Listen, I think Brad Pitt said he'd accept the Oscar for me, so
he will. He'll accept the Oscar.
He's going to play me in the movie.
In the Ugly movie, yeah, I thought that's what he was going to do. He's going to play your role in the Ugly Box movie.
Oh God! So Andy, besides the dealers, Andy, where can we get your book? Where can we get the new book out, guys? Is the Simplex Plus Handbook. Where can we go get it? I know Ronnie's going to have it.
So that's the book here. I don't know if everybody can see it.
Yeah.
Hold it steady. Hold it steady. Bring it.
There
There
you
you
go.
go. Oh yeah,
There you
that's
go.
nice.
You know,
Look at that.
so it's 8.5 by 11. Got everything in it. Ronnie's got it. I mean, we've got them, on our website. But again, I give Ronnie the plug. I think Ronnie's got orders coming. Hopefully, the Pony Express runner didn't die on the way up to New Jersey.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're,
I
you're
thought I
in
had them by now.
Jersey. They walk the mail to their
Oh
destination.
yeah, they
here.
do. Yeah.
I'll tell you. We could not have gotten a better sponsor than Ronnie together there, Andy, at the Gold Digger metal detectors, thegolddigger.com, and he has just done wonders for every member of ours that calls him. He has done wonders for anyone I've ever referenced to his shop. We get nothing but compliments and top-notch service, fast, speedy service. That's why we want to get this ugly book out for Christmas so that people can get that book for Christmas and give it as gifts. And hopefully they can get to Ronnie and get your book as soon as they order it. I mean, his shipping is just incredibly fast. I've heard of things going out as soon as one day, and there's some problems that the U.S. Postal
Just an
Service
example.
sucks.
Just an example, Andy. Ronnie literally lives how far? Like 60, 70 miles.
A little more.
So I ship a package a few months ago. I shipped him a package, and after it went to Washington State, Ohio, California, about 17 days later, it arrived 70 miles from our house. For 3 days, it sat 10 miles from my house before it went back out to like Ohio. So I don't get the whole concept of the express shipping.
But Ronnie has ways of tracking stuff that he ships out, so it's not like they don't know where it is. But his shipping is very expeditious, and we really appreciate having Ron as our sponsor. It really is.
I don't talk a lot. But I'm all action, Andy. So
there you go.
Now, see, Ron, there's a statement of all time. Ronnie finally makes a statement that makes an impact. I don't talk much, but I'm all action.
I got a couple questions that came in real quick, Andy. Were there any special settings or things that you need to do differently on the Equinox after the last update? Any big differences on the Equinox after the last update?
Well, I'll tell you, I think the biggest update that affected U.S. hunters is version 2, right? Version 3, having the additional 4 kilohertz single frequency, having the tweaks here and there. I think the biggest change is version 2, where they added the second iron bias mode.
Right.
And I will say one of the things for anybody that's got an Equinox, because I saw this on almost everybody up there at Andorra Farm, the iron bias is probably about the most misunderstood change that they've had. So you've got the iron bias, or FE, when you go to the option on the menu. If you tap the check mark X, you can toggle between the FE and the F2. F2 was the additional iron bias function that they added, but it's one or the other. It's not both. So if FE is showing, the standard iron bias is in play. If you tap that button and F2 shows up, the second iron bias is in play. The first one, it doesn't matter where you set it. So I heard people saying, well, you got to set FE at this and FE2 at this. They're two totally separate functions that happen to come off the same option button. Now, so if you're somebody that deals with bottle caps, F2 is where you want to be adjusting it. If you're somebody that rally hunts and iron is an issue, FE is where you want to be. They're not one. They're totally mutually exclusive. So don't feel you've got to make the same adjustment or an adjustment to either of them, depending on what you want to use it for.
What is the difference, or is there a difference between machines that have iron volume, being able to adjust the volume of non-ferrous or ferrous targets, to an iron bias? What does the iron bias do?
Again, iron bias only works if you're running multi-frequency. So if you do shift to, like I said, 10 or 15 kilohertz, that function doesn't work. What it does is when you're running multi-frequency, some iron objects, Fe ferrous targets, will actually act like a non-ferrous target. And I mean, if you run an Equinox or a CTX or an E-Track, and if you go over a deep rusted spike, you'll get a great signal. You dig it up and you go, "What the hell? Where's the silver coin?" There's nothing
That gets
there.
rid of that. That gets rid of that ghost chirp in the ground from iron.
That's what the intent is, but it only works in multi-frequency.
Okay.
Iron volume, which the XP's got, the Simplex has, some of the other Nocta models do. So what that is intended to do is allow you to hear the iron, but reduce the volume so you hear it like way in the background.
Right, right.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
information.
I actually like it on the Simplex. When I was testing the Simplex out on the beach, I actually, using the iron volume, cutting the iron volume way down, I actually got the Simplex into salt water, which was shocking to me. You lose depth, but I was able to swing the machine in the water, which was shocking to me for a single frequency machine. Now I'm sure the iron and I'm sure the minerals were screaming bloody murder, but I had cut down the iron volume so much that it wasn't really popping through that much.
Well, again, what most people use the iron volume for is if you're a relic hunter, you're looking for where an old house used to be or where the activity was in a field. Right. You can walk across and it'll be dead quiet until you start hitting the iron. Then you hear those low tones in the background. At least you know you're in the right area. And I mean, if you don't want to hear it at that point, just take the iron volume, run it all the way to 0, and it eliminates that. But at least you can hear it if you want without it blowing your ears off.
The only thing I want to say is on the beach, if you're using the Simplex on the beach, if you're running in beach mode, you don't have access to the iron volume. Is that correct? Because I had to go into like a field mode in order to access the iron volume, and then I was able to run it at the edge of the water.
Well, the beach mode, it automatically rejects the bottom segments, right, and you can't unreject them. It does that simply for that reason. So. But again, remember the beach mode is primarily salt beach, not freshwater beaches.
Right, right. Let's see if anybody else had anything they wanted to
Great
add.
information. I mean, like I said, whenever Andy comes on the show, man, we really learn a lot and get great information. I don't think anyone really gets much information from me when I'm on the show. Nothing. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No.
Well, we don't always, when we get on the show, we don't always talk about metal detecting. So that
is true.
Actually, this is the rarity.
Yeah, this is rare. This is the first time we ever
devote almost a whole show talking about metal detectors. That never happens.
Yeah, Andy, we did a whole show one time on my colonoscopy, and it went for an hour. I was like amazed.
I think that's probably one I'm glad I missed.
Yeah, the worst part was it was one of our highest rated shows.
It really got interesting when he started showing the pictures.
What got interesting was I still haven't figured out why during his colonoscopy they diagnosed him with tonsillitis. I can't figure that out yet. So
I had an extra long scope.
Listen, I know I make this look easy, but it's not. Controlling those two clowns up in that corner up there is not easy at all.
So I really want to give away a book, Andy. Do you have a book that we can steal from you and give away?
Ooh.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you a choice of any of my books, and I'll give you 3 that you can give away. How's that sound?
Holy, what? Look at this guy.
Fantastic.
Is that incredible? That's incredible. Andy, thank you very much. Whenever anyone does something for our viewers, man, I think that is top notch. And that is what Detect America is all about. I mean, our community out there, it does nothing but support each other. That's why we say we don't always do shows about metal detecting, because a lot of times we're talking about some other topics, and sometimes those topics involve our members. Of some things that go on.
I'm picking up the chat so I can see who you give it.
Some things that go on in our members' lives. Now, usually when we do a giveaway, I monitor the chat, but right now, since I can't see the chat, and again, whoever writes bad things about me, I will get back at you.
You can watch the show at another time.
I know there's always something about me that's funny. So Frank's going to do it, and what we usually do is we pick a number in the chat. We pick a number and then count how many times the next, like Frank types go, and then he'll count maybe anywhere from 15 to 25, and whoever the next number that comes in with that chat,
All right, since I have to go behind me, Bill will pick low numbers tonight.
Pick low numbers.
Yeah, because I don't want to lose it.
18.
1.
18. Listen, I'll tell you what. This is probably one of the best things you could win on our show is a book by Andy Sabisch, who is so knowledgeable in metal detectors, as you heard in this last half hour, 45-minute conversation we've had with him. The guy knows what he's talking about. Me, I blow smoke. Okay, I'll flat out tell you baloney. I'll make up a lie if I don't know the answer. But Andy, he knows the answer.
There goes your credibility.
Usually, I don't have I have credibility. So
Not now, you don't.
Credibility. I don't have no credibility. Usually, what I got to do is I got to ask Ron or Frank for the answer. Okay, so don't give me your phone number, Andy, because I'll call you like every hour with these questions. And usually, it starts out with, "I went hunting, couldn't find crap." So I'm gonna find something soon. I don't know. It's getting tough.
Greg Papala. Greg
Papala, there you go.
So Greg, you contact me and let me know. You got a choice of Andy's books, and you contact me. I will forward it to Andy, and we'll get it out. So this way we don't.
And Andy,
go to Andy's library. Pick one you like, buddy.
Yeah, and one of the books he wrote, not one of those ones that might be all the way in the back, the hidden ones.
Yeah, no, not something personal Andy reads on the shelf. One of the books Andy wrote.
You know Greg Papala from Florida Hunt 7. If you get down to Florida, you're going to get to meet him. Great guy. Him and his wife are awesome people.
Awesome. And do such a great cause. They do such a great job down there for that hunt. Yeah,
that's a superb. And I can't wait to go. We went last year, had a great time, and even though I was with Frank for that whole time in the car like that, and this year, I don't know why I'm going to get in a car with him again for that long ride.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. We're going to take the scenic route this time.
I might fly down and then just drive back with him because I don't know if I can make both ways.
You're by the time you get down there and you hang out with us for the weekend, you're going to be flying back too. You'll
get a flight back. So that is awesome. That's great. Greg is a great guy, and you can't beat these books. You want to do this? Do you want to?
Well, you know what? I don't want to keep Andy here while watching my back as I look at the chat. So we're going to give away 2 more, and I'm going to forward them to Andy. I want to thank Andy for coming on tonight, guys. Don't forget, Ronnie's going to be carrying the new SIMPLEX handbook. You can check out Andy's site, but. Trust me, it'll because I own a SIMPLEX, it's going to be one of the books that's on my shelf because any reference I have to take on any metal detector is Andy's books that I go to. So, Andy, we appreciate you coming on, buddy. And,
hey, let me throw one more plug on, if you would. So I know people have asked about going overseas. So we've done England trips, and we've got trips now to Scotland. We're kind of the only ones doing trips to Scotland. So we're hoping that 2021, because we had to cancel the October-September trips this year. So we do have 3 dates set up for next year, one in the spring and February, March, and then the other one's in August and September. So if anybody's interested in going to Scotland and saving a fair amount of money over England, if we can get over there, be more than happy to bring you on a group. We're taking 12 at a time over there.
And you make sure you guys post that stuff on our page too. Whatever info you've got on it, contact info, post it up on our page.
Yeah, please.
All right,
post anything you ever do, post it on Detect America because, like I said, you're one of the best guests we have on here, the most knowledgeable. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on our show. I do look forward to meeting you in Florida, and please post anything you do. Post some pictures of the book and any information. If you want to take an excerpt out of the book or something, pop it on there.
That beautiful belt buckle that was clean with the ugly box. Post that as much as you want on the page.
Well, I'll tell you, I got a really cool picture in the book. So I've got a picture in the beginning of me when I got my first machine, 1964. And people look at it and go, that can't be you. Well, I've actually got that machine still. So a few months ago, I went down to see my father. He's 96 years old, and
wow.
he's still around. And I brought that machine with me because what I wanted to do was get a picture. Let me see if I can find it.
recreate the picture, huh?
Well, it's a picture of him with that original detector from 1964,
Wow.
and me holding the Simplex.
Nice.
So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
And another great thing about that picture is that was the year I was born.
You weren't born. Nah, you were 30 when that picture was taken. Who you kidding? But no, please, Andy, post those pictures. We love to see it, man. We really appreciate having you in our group.
Absolutely.
And look forward to having you back.
All right. Well, like you said, let me know the names. We'll get books out. And hey, Ronnie, I'm hoping I got to throw some election day humor. I'm hoping when the box shows up, it's not full of election ballots.
That's what I'm afraid of. That's honestly either that or maybe my box went to one of the election polls.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. I heard in Philly they opened up a box and found all these Andy Sabisch books in there. I don't understand. All right, buddy. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it, Andy.
Good night.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Great guest. I tell you what, great guest, wealth of information.
I tell you, like I said, and I know there's other books out there, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up anybody's rear end, but if I've got to research something on a machine, if there's something on a machine, as hard as this is to believe, if there's something on a machine that I don't know, yeah. And Andy's books, Andy's my encyclopedia, man. That's where I go.
And he gets very scientific about it. You know?
Exactly.
And not just
he
what the buttons do, but what's actually driving that.
Steve reads Andy's books too, then calls me and I explain what those big words were, and then he knows what he's doing.
I ain't the brightest, I admit. I'm a turn and go guy, man. I'd rather turn it on and go. Where it's getting me.
And that's where it's heading, man. That's where detectors are heading. They're heading,
and that's probably one of the reasons why the Simplex is so well liked. Is not that many.
And there's enough tweaking on it for guys like me that aren't happy unless they're fiddling with the machine.
Right. A little bit of fiddling, a little bit of turn and go.
We got 2 more books of Andy's to give away. So let's pick another number. What? 4? What was it? No.
20.
Ah, man. So we're gonna.
Thank you, Rich Kruckmeyer.
Andy said you pick any book out of his library of books that he's written, and let me know what it is, and I'll forward to Andy, and Andy will send it out to you. So we're going
to. Hey, Ron, wasn't he the one complaining that I always pick the low numbers?
Yeah, but that's different. I was the one that had to watch the chat.
That's true.
20.
That's
pick
true.
20. Hit go and start counting. And at least I can do it while I look at the screen. I can do it while I look at the screen at the same time. So Ronnie, I hope your phones are ringing off the hook. I told you.
I don't know. I'm here in my basement.
I got one gentleman calling you for stuff. Everybody tells me they're calling you.
Yeah, we get a lot of calls. I mean, business is really pretty good.
And when I call, you hang up on me.
Well, that's what happens when you answering the phone.
The phone malfunctions. Now I saw they were talking about you on Jersey History Hunters, and everybody, good accolades in that room too.
They're good. I'm glad they're really wonderful girls.
Yeah, they had a good show Tuesday night. I was in there. They did the Ugly Box. They thanked everyone for the Ugly Box. They're very appreciative. They did pretty well with the coin, but they need to learn a little more.
Well, the book will be out soon.
But it was the first coin that they did, yeah. And they did pretty well with it. They had a Mercury. I think everyone starts out with a Mercury.
Yeah, the most forgiving coin, the silver coin, most forgiving coin.
Right, and it gets you to practice on how to set up the machine.
Mm-hmm. Josh Kimmel.
All right, there you go.
Josh Kimmel, congrats, Josh. Just PM me, buddy, and let me know what Andy Sabisch book you want.
Josh Kimmel from Beyond Sight and Sound, great friend of Detect America, avid viewer of Detect America, as well as Greg Papalo. So, listen, you come to the show and you can go home with a nice prize out of here. We're better than let's make a deal. What we should start doing, Frank? We should let these people pick and like give them zonk prizes.
What we should do is make them sign on to Be Live, and they got to be dressed in costumes like they used to do on Let's Make a Deal.
Let's make a deal,
There
and
you
we'll
go.
offer them that, and then they get zonked.
Who wants to be a millionaire?
You win like a pull tab necklace instead of a book from Andy Sabisch.
Pull tab necklace.
The Zonkaroni.
Oh, and you know what I want to talk about, and I feel terrible because I went to the doctor the other day and for my back and my knee, and he gave me some wonderful medications. And Audra and Rachel over at Jersey History Hunters did a whole show on the damn Ugly Box, and I was unconscious.
I got in there though, Frank, and I helped. I helped answer questions and tried to help guide them through. So they got through. They got through it for their first.
No, yeah, I went back and watched it. They did a good job. I just got back because I really wanted to be there, and I passed out.
You watched the show?
Yeah, I went back and watched it on YouTube.
Yeah, you didn't read the chat much, did you? You just watched the
No,
same
I
one?
didn't.
I'm safe then.
But now I will.
Ugh, I don't know. You might find
somebody just PM'd me.
You might find a tractor for sale on there.
All right, so Barb Connell, I told you before, Barb Connell does a Christmas show every year for kids, and she just like gives away a bunch of prizes. She makes them do games and different things, and gives away a bunch of prizes. It's a great show. And just so you know, Greg Papalo just told me that we're going to send that book to Barb for her giveaways. Good job, thank you, Greg.
Okay, all right.
Very
Greg,
nice,
you're
very
awesome.
nice.
We can work that out. Just let her pick the book and give him her address. I guess, right?
Yeah, no, I'll send it to him, and I've got Barb's info because I sent her some stuff. I'm going to send her some more stuff, and then
Jim Matthews, just Facebook me. We can get that for you. As soon as it comes in, we'll send it out to you. But just Facebook me your address and everything, and when it comes out, I'll contact you. But like I said, the books are going to be here. I would expect they got to be here in a day or two. I mean, they shipped them last week. So
they won't be on the shelves long either.
I need an autographed one.
All his books sell.
Yeah, so, Andy, if you're still watching, I want an autographed one. I'll buy it. Just send it to Ronnie. I need an autographed one.
The pre-interview show we had between me, Ronnie, and Frank was Ronnie basically saying, "Frank, you got to build more boxes. The ones you sent me are already gone. We got to fill more orders."
Yeah, Frank. Like I said, I told my wife not to expect to see me for about 2 weeks. So.
It's like Mr. Spacely and George Jetson. Jetson, get to work.
All right, so we're going to give away one more. Andy gave us three to give away. So
23. 23. 23 is a good number.
You're torturing them tonight.
I hope I win.
23, guys. 23 is the number.
Yeah, it's like Spacely Sprockets, dude. You're like, Jetson, get to work.
Spacely Sprockets.
Get to work, Jetson. Him and his boy Elroy. So what do you got planned for the weekend, Ron? Anything?
I don't know. The wife says she's going to be busy straightening the house up because she's doing a Thanksgiving gig here for the family. And she said, if you want to go out hunting Saturday, Sunday, go right ahead.
Guess what I might do? The weather's supposed to be so warm. I might try and get in a lake. If it's warm enough, I might try and get in this lake.
Warm enough? God bless you there.
Listen,
that water's got to be cold.
No, yeah, but I think it was 2 weeks ago. It was 2 weekends ago. It was warm enough to go in the lake. If I had a bathing suit, I would have been in the lake, and I got a bathing suit now.
That's pretty amazing.
I might do it. The lake was warm with the sun being out. Yeah, I might do it.
Yeah. It was 70 today up
Mark
here.
Waltrip.
Who?
Mark Waltrip. It's the last one. So Mark, PM me the book you want and your info, and I'll get it out to you. Greg Papalo already sent it out, and Josh Kimmel, I'll talk to Josh during the week, and that's it. That's 3.
Oh, one other thing. All the Halloween giveaways, I shipped them today, and I want to apologize for being late. I was out of town to the end of the weekend.
Oh
That's
yeah,
late.
nah, they're fine.
Oh,
Have you
well,
seen when
you know
Frank
me.
mails stuff?
I want to turn it around a day or two.
Yeah, not
But
Frank.
by the time I came back from my long weekend, I was playing catch up with work, because once I take a weekend off, I'm usually 2 3 days before I catch up, and then we got them out today. So I just signed them today, and I forgot who. Tom.
It was Tom
Uh,
Davis, Jamie Martin, and Alice Van Gilder.
okay, your stuff has been shipped today.
You
So
shipped their stuff.
I shipped their stuff, and I have to say, the coin that Tom Davis won probably cost as much to ship it there. So,
Yeah,
Gotta love,
yeah.
Hey, don't bust on Canada. They're showing my movie tonight. Okay.
no, that's right. There you go. I got to be good.
Don't worry. Like I said, that documentary is going to be on PBS on the 18th of November. So between now and the 18th of November, you'll hear it from me about 4,050 times.
And that's great because I'm looking forward to seeing it myself too. I know
I am too. Like I said, I'd like to know if I'm really in it because
You never know. You never know.
We'll see.
Production companies are an amazing thing, aren't they?
Yes,
Yeah,
I had them come over and do an interview one day. I mean, literally sit in my shop for, I don't know, hours.
Yeah.
And it never made the cut room. Boom, that was it. Done.
Like I said, I've done 5. I filmed 5 episodes for potential TV shows. You know how many made it TV? None. This is the first time ever.
Yeah, we'll be famous one day.
That's all right.
Someday.
When I was the stand-in for the adult film industry, I never got any airtime.
They call that a fluff. So you were a fluff?
Fluffer.
That's wrong. That is wrong. Sign me out. I'm done.
I'm gonna go see if I can bootleg my movie off of some like foreign film channel or something.
That was bad.
All right, guys. Thanks everybody for being here. I want to thank Andy Sabisch for coming on. It's always a great and informative show, and Andy's here. Thank you so much for the giveaways, Andy. And we will definitely have Andy back on again.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else we got? Anything else we got coming up?
Nope. I just before you cut me out, I want to tell everybody, our viewers, thanks for allowing us into your homes tonight, because I'm sure there's other things you could have been doing. So thanks again for watching. You can knock me out there, Frankie.
All right. It's a pretty good idea to want me out of your home.
Monday night. We have any plans for Monday night?
No. Who did we? I don't know. No, we never planned. Do we ever have any plans?
I know November 23rd ish. I know we've got Robert and April Connect. They are coming on to talk about their adventures and giving away a 1715 fleet coin.
Yeah, he wants to come on and talk about how to read a real. So
right. That's cool.
I'm really stoked for that. I'm interested.
And he's got graphics and stuff. That's awesome.
Pictures. I like
less
pictures.
work for me.
Pictures. I like pictures.
I reached out to D-Lec. We're going to have D-Lec on very soon. I got to reach out to my buddy over at Fisher. Fisher's going to be coming on soon to talk about their new machine.
Yeah. We need Fisher. We need different companies.
I forget who else.
We need to know about your knee too. You got to take care. Dude, I was hunting. I want my Frank with me when I hunt.
Well, like I said, like anything else, it'll pass again. It'll be fine again for a while. Hopefully, we're gonna do something with it this time. Listen, there's no doubt in my mind that at some point in time I'm going in for surgery.
So
I may be going in for that spinal ablation thing. I don't know, but something's got to be done because I'm just missing too much time digging.
I told you I can do all that stuff in your shop, dude.
Hey.
I can do that.
That's going to be a thing. We're going to find out that the Thunder is going to be like a cure for spine and back pain.
And the Thrasher will shave down your bones with it.
Yeah, we'll do their arthroscopic knee surgery with it.
I'm going to need the second sight though to get in there, and
you're gonna need second, third, and fourth sight to get in. To help me. Second sight, like guys, listen. In the next week or so, there's a couple of hand-picked, chosen people out there. They're going to be testing a prototype. I don't know if it's going to be the final product.
What?
The second sight light.
Oh, second sight. Oh, okay, yeah.
we're going to see. We're going to see.
Get those parts in.
We're tweaking. We're tweaking. Well, we're experimenting with a couple of other frequencies until I can get that one. In here, I like how it looks, but I can't be the judge. So I have a couple other people test it out.
Make sure you hand me one because I'm bound to screw it up.
Absolutely.
I'll screw it up. Thanks, buddy. Sign me out. Good night, everyone.
See you later.
We'll see you soon. Sooner than.
That's it for us, guys. We'll see you Monday night.